Hello, my fellow Witcher fans. So, as you might have heard, the Witcher 4 reveal has divided our Witcher community a fair bit. The developer of The Witcher 4, CDPR, has finally come out to talk about it. VGC has done an interview with the narrative director and executive producer, and they were talking about Ciri Backlash from fans and lessons learned from past mistakes. So, in this video, we'll dive into the interview in a quick summary. So, as it turns out, they were aware that making Ciri a protagonist could be controversial. They acknowledge that lots of fans still want to play as Geralt, and that concerns about moving away from him are valid. They all love Geralt, but his story has come to a close, and they can make a lot of interesting things with Ciri moving forward, and they want to honor Geralt's ending in The Witcher 3 and the Blood and Wine expansion.
So I think we definitely knew that it could be controversial for some people because, of course, the previous 3 Witcher games were with Geralt as a protagonist, and I think everyone really loved playing as Geralt. I really loved playing as Geralt. So I think we're also aware that if some people would think right now that they would still prefer to be Geralt, I do think that's a legitimate concern.
They said they were setting up Ciri's story since The Witcher 3 and feel like it's a natural evolution of the franchise. It wasn't something they came up with yesterday. It will let them tell the story of what it means to become a Witcher. They also know that the players concerned are coming from the place of passion and love for the books and the games, but also reassured us and told us not to worry. And he thinks once we see and hear more from the devs in the coming months and maybe even years, and of course eventually when we play the game, that it will prove to us that Ciri is worthy protagonist for The Witcher 4. They of course respect everybody's opinion and are grateful to the community for doing these kinds of videos and explanations of how and why choosing Ciri was, and I quote, the correct choice. But yeah, it seems like they are listening to the community, at least watching these forums, Reddit and whatnot, and the community feedback is what's important to them. So instead, I guess, of making clickbait videos and just complaining about the game, we should focus more on constructive criticism and some good feedback that they can take into the game and just make it better. They mentioned how it's been 9 years since The Witcher 3, so they want to make sure that people who haven't played the old games can enjoy it, but also that The Witcher 4 is a sequel to the trilogy, and fans of the books and the games can rest assured since they're taking this very seriously. They said that we'll respect the story and characters that were introduced in the previous games.
We want to ensure that once The Witcher 4 releases, this is also a game that a completely new audience can enjoy. But at the same time, we're of course also aware, and this is why we call the game The Witcher 4, that this is a sequel to the 3 previous Witcher games. So fans of the 3 games, fans of Andrzej Sapkowski's novels, we can basically tell them that you can rest assured that we take this seriously. This is a sequel to these previous experiences fully, and that of course also means that we do respect the stories, the characters that were introduced in those games before.
They said they want to try and improve on every new game they make to make it more immersive, more in-depth when it comes to the open world as well as gameplay mechanics. And they want The Witcher 4 to be something the world has not yet experienced. And I'm pretty hyped about it.
With each of our games, we try to push the boundaries to have something new to learn from the previous, even if the games are different from each other when it comes to the franchise, right? But to learn from that, to push it more, to achieve more, to have more depth there, more immersive with the open world, to also do it with the gameplay elements. So I guess with the overall approach, for sure we are aiming and we are hunger for once again do a change for people, right? And do the introduction of something that world did not yet experience, of course, because our ambition is always to push the bar. Yeah.
They were talking about how The Witcher 3 becoming an open world game didn't break the core elements, such as strong character-driven storytelling of the first 2. So they don't want The Witcher 4 to break any of those qualities they established in the trilogy, but at the same time, they want to evolve other areas that the previous games were lacking. Open worlds still need to be bigger and bigger to be better, but instead more in-depth and more immersive, more systemic. And I kind of agree with that. They also said something I'm not sure what to think about. They said it's not about making the best Witcher game ever, but to make the best with the time they have. So I don't know. Like, what if their timeline suddenly changes? Do they rush the game just so they could finish it? I don't know. A bit tricky, but again, you should take everything with a grain of salt. Whenever they work on a game, they want it to be meaningful, and there is only so much that can be meaningful and interesting, so they don't want to overstretch it and then bring repetitive things, quests, and stories in order to make the game bigger. So that's a big plus in my opinion. They also said they are gamers themselves, that they want to play good games as well as us. They think about what their players want and how they will experience it, but also what they want to tell the world. They're making a game that they are, as fans of the series, would play themselves. They want to tell a story with difficult, odd questions. They said they want to make an important and universal stories that would touch the players, their souls, with a lot of difficult questions and difficult topics. And they're not afraid of fan reaction. They always want to tackle difficult themes. That's like the core of the Witcher games. They also reference how The Witcher 3 had a lot of great choices with maybe not good outcomes or clear outcomes, and they want to bring that into The Witcher 4. They say how the story and its connection to the world, characters they build up, they don't want to tackle issues and problems just for the sake of it. If it doesn't fit well with the overall story, it doesn't make sense. So they always put purpose and context of the game and reasoning behind it. And the last thing they mentioned is that this is not the start of their marketing campaign. They've learned their lessons from Cyberpunk's launch, and they want to remind the old school fans, that they're coming back strong with The Witcher 4, but at the same time they just want to introduce new audience to it, to the Witcher universe, and that the campaign will start much closer to the release date of the game when things are more finalized. And of course, I'll leave the link in the description below if you want to watch the whole interview again. Thanks VGC for uploading this video to YouTube. I don't know about you guys, but I feel better and reassured. I didn't have many concerns myself, but these statements are really something that a lot of fans were looking for. So what do you think? Tell me your thoughts, questions, and concerns in comments below, and I'll talk to you in the next video.